For the first time, we're going to check out the stadiums of a Central American league, Costa Rica to be specific. Here are the Liga Promerica stadiums. Estadio Alejandro Marrero Soto. It's not uncommon for some stadiums to have been built partially by supporters of the club offering up their labour. Well, in this case, it was a local high school that had each of the students donate a brick and bring it to the construction site. Extracurricular activities, you might say. That was the 1940s though, and like most things, the stadium has changed a lot since then. There might be some of those original bricks hiding somewhere, but this is now a modern football stadium with pretty good amenities overall. Seems like there's not a bad seat in the house. Estadio Jose Rafael Falla Maza Ivankovic. We've gone from the oldest to the second oldest ground in the league, this one having opened in the late 40s. Back in the day it could host crowds of a similar size as the previous stadium, but it's about half the size nowadays. It has to be one of the few stadiums in the world that's named after the player that scored the first ever goal at the stadium. The only other example I can think of off the top of my head is Douglas McNugget Stadium in rural Arkansas. But I don't think that should really be counted because I made it up. Estadio Chorotega is situated in Nicoya, which is a fairly small town situated on its namesake peninsula, which appears to be a very green and mountainous place. Welcome to the jungle. Clearly this area gets a lot of rain. So much rain that the drainage system sometimes struggles to keep up with the amount of water falling from the sky. The pitch looks good here, but at times it has looked like a pig's paradise. So it was replaced with an artificial turf field. Fair enough. Estadio Eladio Razabal Cordero. This stadium is actually in the process of being rebuilt. Once complete, it will seemingly be one of the league's best. For now, the club is playing at Estadio Nacional de Costa Rica, which is good because if they weren't playing here, it wouldn't have been included in the video, as the only permanent tenant at this ground is the national football team, as its name suggests. The stadium was built and financed by the Chinese government, shortly after Costa Rica stopped recognizing Taiwan in 2007, and switched to recognizing Red China. That is one of the more overt examples of stadium diplomacy. Not only was it Chinese built, but actually it is almost an exact copy of this stadium in China. Usually you'd want a national stadium to be unique, but beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. Whilst it may not be one of a kind, it has certainly become an iconic part of this city. Those huge arching roofs certainly stand out amongst the city's skyline. Estadio Edgardo Baltodano Piceno is situated in a town called Liberia. Unlike the country of Liberia, there has, as far as I know, never been a cannibal warlord here called General Butt Naked. Also, clearly the sporting infrastructure in this town is a lot better. I don't want to denigrate the nation of Liberia too much though. Now that General Butt Naked is out of the picture, a brighter future awaits you, maybe. I see a bad moon rising. I see the troubles on the way. I always forget whether that band is called Creedence Clearwater Revival or Clearwater Crew. No, it's the first one. Estadio Lito Perez. Wow, now that's a peninsula. Thankfully this is Costa Rica and not Japan. I don't think this town would fare well against a tsunami. This stadium is known for the sweltering conditions on the field and throughout the stadium, for which it gets the nickname of the Magic Pot. Okay, surely if anything it should have been the Hot Pot. Perhaps they associate magic with heat in Costa Rica? Or there's some sort of cooking instrument called a magic pot? Or I've completely messed up the translation? Who knows? Seems like a nice and compact stadium, magic or no magic. Estadio Municipal de Pérez Zeledon. Despite its wonky proportions, this is one of the more technologically advanced stadiums in the country. particularly the field, which is irrigated artificial grass that has all the flavour of real grass with just less than half the calories. When I say wonky proportions, I was referring to the fact that the main stand doesn't exactly run parallel to the field itself. Rather, it follows the same angle as the road that it backs onto. But that is barely even a minor inconvenience, more of a quirk that makes for a unique stadium. Estadio Carlos Ugel de Alvarez is situated in a town that sounds like the name of some sort of delicious food, quesada. Hang on, is that a food or am I thinking of quesadilla? Kinda. Quesada pasiega is a Spanish cheesecake flavored with lemon zest and cinnamon. Sounds good. I am easily sidetracked by food. It's like that time I made that speech at a funeral. James was a fantastic person. He would always find the time to... Oh, do I smell donuts? Is there a bakery around here or something? I wonder if you can buy a quesada pasiega at this stadium. Probably not. That is a glorious sunset, and it basically matches the club's colours, so bonus points for that. Estadio de Piedades de Santa Ana. With a capacity of just 2,000, this stadium is the smallest in the league. It does look as though the locals just bought whatever materials they could from the local hardware store and put this place together. If you think it looks out of place in the top tier, well, that makes sense, as the club were in the second tier just last season. I like it though, it's a cozy little ground. Estadio Abel Rodriguez. This is another stadium that got its start with some amateur construction work. Rather than bricks from high school students, it was built with wooden logs donated by a man. I guess a lumberjack or a lumber jose? What do they call a lumberjack in Spanish? Don't know. Clearly none of that wood remains. Not even the field is natural anymore. But as we saw earlier, there may be a good reason for that. It gets well over 3,000 mils of annual rainfall on average here. That's 5 London's worth of rain. What is this, a weather channel now? Estadio Ricardo Saprissa is the largest football-specific stadium in the country. This would also have to be one of the best stadiums in all of Central America. The reason being that, firstly, much like the stadium we started with, the stands are rather steep and come very close to the field. The fact that they are multi-tiered covered stands intensifies the crowd noise and intimidation factor, but the uncovered stands at the ends mean that it's not too claustrophobic in here. Lovely ground. Oh, and sorry to keep bringing up the fake turf, but when the grass here was replaced with plastic in 2003, it was the only ground in the league with one. Trendsetter. Once again, this was due to the heavy rain brought about by tropical storms. Elsewhere in the San Jose Canton is Estadio Ernesto Romosa. Out of all the grounds in this league, and there are a lot of them, I think, and this is just a personal opinion, I think that this is the ground where a player is most likely to faceplant into the side of a concrete wall. The main reason I say this is because of this concrete wall, which is like 2 meters beyond the goal line. So if the ball is heading in that direction, it's probably best to just let the goalkeeper grab it. Brain damage isn't as good as it sounds, and it doesn't sound very good to begin with, to be honest. Overall, I'd still say this is a solid ground. So there you have it. Time to pick a favourite. I think I'll exclude the National Stadium, and Estadio Ricardo Saprissa has got to be the best of the rest. No wonder the national team often plays here as well. Thanks for watching, have a good one.